Greening the rubble, Ashley Campbell. Greening the red zone, sorry. I know, it was just, I looked down at the page and I didn't read it. And
it's okay. Okay. Leanne, Vicky, councillors. I'm Ashley Campbell, Chair of Greening the Red Zone, and this is Mark Huxtable, who is struggling with your PowerPoint presentation at the moment, who is also a member of Greening the Red Zone and a landscape architect. We just need to sort this out, otherwise it's not going to work. There we go.
It's not full screen, so. That one. I'm guessing. How do you get that full screen?
That's pretty close. Sorry about this, folks. Okay. Okay.
No, it's not.
Looking through. We might have
Yep.
to.
Acrobat Reader.
We might have to do it from the handouts. Sorry, it's not clicking through. We might have to just go ahead and do this, hopefully, if you can follow the handouts.
Is there any way we can zoom out of this?
try escape.
Okay.
That's what I always do.
No, it's okay. We'll have to do it via the handouts. Sorry about this, folks. We're aware you're short of time, so it's not ideal, but we'll do it via the handouts. Thank you for letting us speak to you today as you prepare your long-term plan. We know you've got a complex task trying to balance your budget while meeting the needs of a rebuilding city, so we'd like to ease your task just a little. We're not here to ask you for money. We can't ask you for money. Because like you, we don't know what the future of the land that we care about will be. It may be owned by you, it may be owned by a community trust, it may be owned by the government, it may be owned privately, it may be all or any of these. And until we know the outcome of the ownership structure, we can't make financial requests. But we are here to ask you for consideration, influence and support. The work you do every day touches on the red zone and influences what can happen within it. Your drainage, roads and infrastructure, your public musings about what you'd like to happen in there, all these things affect what it might become. So we just ask that everywhere that you touch the red zone, you do so in a way that makes the very best outcome for Christchurch possible, or at the very least, doesn't hinder it. Greening the Red Zone is a community group of people who want our red zone returned to nature. We've been going for about a year, and in that time we've made a difference, and we have visuals. We have, with your office's blessing, planted over 250 native plants in 2 red zone council-owned parks. Next week, with the Otakaro Park Scout Group, we'll plant more than 150 more native plants in another red zone council-owned park. We've engaged the New Brighton Volunteer Fire Brigade to help nurture the plants in Harold Henry Park, as over summer they emptied a fire truck full of water every week on those plants to ensure that they could survive their first year. We've worked with Sarah to identify patches of rich native bush, then fence and protect them from clearance, spraying and mowing, and they do need that protection. With our volunteers, we've weeded out the smothering exotics, giving the regenerating native seedlings the very best chance of surviving. And there are many, many seedlings. There's kowhai and cabbage trees for Africa. In one Avonside section alone, there are literally thousands of self-seeded ribbonwood seedlings. Like you, we have a long-term plan, which we believe will be of huge benefit to Christchurch. Like you, our plan is still a work in progress. When it's complete, we'd very much like an opportunity to come and present it to you in full. But today, we can give you a glimpse into what it could be and what we're asking you to support. Over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Ashley. I've finally got it working just this second, so that's quite handy. As you can see, the main thrust of our proposal is to create a mosaic of native habitat areas. Working with our ecologists, we've come up with a habitat map that covers the main species. This includes both forest and wetland habitats, including bringing back the noble forest trees such as totara, matai and kakatea, where appropriate, and wetland in the lower-lying areas. People will be able to experience the forest through existing road routes, which we could designate for pedestrian and cycle use. A visitor centre close to the city could service the majority of activities in the park, while providing a hub for information, hire, functions, cafe and education centre, where our forest park can offer a living laboratory where visitors and residents and students can learn and contribute to the conservation of our native wildlife. Access to the site could be served by bus, tram or low-impact land train, which could run from the site from Cathedral Square to New Brighton. A wildlife sanctuary protects our vulnerable species. Community parks on the fringes of the forest would provide clearings for people to enjoy the forest in their local vicinity and provide opportunities for picnics, natural play and a place to relax and unwind. You can see the red zone boundary on the outside, but what's exciting here is that we wouldn't just be creating a forest park, we'd be creating a ribbon of green that would connect the other adjacent green spaces, effectively doubling the size of the area. Great for residents, wildlife and all that smog in the winter. There are many beloved species already returned to the red zone, and with your help, many more could return. An established forest park could see the likes of karuru, tui, mopok, kaka in our skies once more. The noble native trees such as totara matai, kakatea in our forests, and harakeke, raupo, oi oi in our wetlands. Of course, the forest park wouldn't be a proper park without the ability for everyone to enjoy it in our own way that respects the forest and other users. We could choose to bike along cycle tracks, walk through the forest, kayak along the river, climb a tree, camp or even stay in a tree house. There are many ways the forest can generate income, even save the City Council money. Some of the many ideas for revenue generation include sustainable forestry, concessions, events, boat and bike hire, even horse riding, concerts, sponsorship and many more. As well as generating revenue directly, a forest park would also create huge savings and benefits for the City Council and the local community. Through urban regeneration of surrounding areas, flood protection of low-lying areas, improved water quality, reduced health costs, decreased crime, increased community cohesion, all maintained and planted by a willing volunteer workforce. This isn't just pie in the sky. It's a low-cost, low-impact, affordable solution for our red zone. I think this slide does the talking for me. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I hand you back to Ashley, I'd like to finish by showing you a vision of the future. This is where we are today, standing in Avonside in 2015. Now we travel forward 100 years into the future, and yes, maybe that jumper will have gone out of fashion, or maybe she was just going for a retro look.
It already is.
We'll never know. What we do know is, though, this could be our legacy for future generations, an exciting, clean, green, native New Zealand jewel in the midst of our city for everyone to enjoy. I'll hand you back over to Ashley. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. You've read our written submission, or we hope you've read our written submission. So you know the economic and social benefits that will flow from a large red zone native forest park. Flood protection, carbon sequestration, health promotion, air quality improvement. We lay them all out and we provide the evidence. We've outlined where we think you could work with Canterbury DHB and ECAN to quantify the economic savings and use that information in your negotiations with government. Today, I'd like to paint a picture of the social, environmental, health and financial benefits that a red zone forest park can bring. Last week in this room, Dr. John Cook spoke of the need to create cost-free opportunities to be active, close to home for the people of the East. And Gary Moore spoke of the green rebuild of Christchurch. Well, what about a Bexley wetland with the stop banks right back at Anzac Drive, where the people of the East and everyone else can fish, kayak, run, jog and canoe, where they can get in among nature and observe kotuku, bittern, pied and little shags, and many more. A Bexley wetland that gives the people of New Brighton confidence that they won't be flooded at every high tide, because the water from the sea has somewhere to go. What about cycle paths, where families can safely cycle from New Brighton to Avonside and even into the city without having to spend a cent? While in the other direction, tourists are riding bikes from the CBD, which they've hired, down to New Brighton for the day, spending their money there while getting a genuine New Zealand natural experience. What about the ability to jog through a forest in the middle of winter, breathing clean air, not smog, while listening to the songs of tui, kaka, bellbirds, kakariki and more? It's working with nature, not against it, to create the best environment for our city and our people. These are just some of the opportunities that Avon Otakaro Forest Park offers us. We won't be offered them again. Help us to make the most of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure what, we've got a minute to go, so Paul.
I think it's fantastic, and I think the work you've done is awesome. And I just want to ask a question. You would have heard about the Eden project, and you would have heard about the desire to have a, Olympic-style sort of rowing lake.
Yep.
Do you see that as being
No, we
integrated?
don't see either of those two projects in this. We do see many of the other proposed projects, but we have yet to approach those project champions and say, can you see yourselves in part of this? So we don't really want to name them at the moment. But we are going for low cost, we are going for natural, we are going for sustainable, and we are going for not hugely engineered.
Fantastic.
We don't want to spend loads of money. This is a cost-effective solution.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you.
Akaroa Civic Trust.